You're listening to the TF Motorsports official podcast, all things monster trucks. Welcome to a brand new episode of the TF Motorsports official podcast. We are going to be recapping week 2 of Monster Jam, and then we're going to look into week 3. And yet again, I am currently solo, but there might be a chance that somebody might join me later. Obviously, plans do change, and we'll see how things go in a minute. So we actually got quite a few things to cover tonight. We don't just have Monster Jam. We got actually a lot of stuff to cover outside of Monster Jam 2. We got some independent news that came up, but actually, let's start actually with Monster Jam. And this is about the World Finals. If you watched the extra episode where we talked about the Monster Jam World Finals format, how I didn't like it, and like what it did, and like what, you know, all the crucial problems that made that, I talked about it and tried to do it in detail. I didn't want to like really half-ass it and just push it out there for the sake of, you know, baiting clicks. That's something I just don't want to do. I did it for a purpose, and again, I like Monster Jam, and it's pretty much been my life for a while. I'm just pretty much speaking from the heart. But several days later, from my knowledge, unfortunately, they have not changed the format for the World Finals. It still stays, but I noticed something different. Now, Monster Jam obviously has always had controversial changes or whatnot, and it always stirred up people who hated it, and then you always had people who liked it. Like, let's turn back the clock to the World Finals location change, 2018, which it was going to be for the following year in 2019. You had people like myself who liked it because obviously it was first going to be at MetLife, but then they changed it again, and I was like, whatever. But I didn't mind. But then you had other people who flat out hated it because it was breaking through tradition. And I understand the World Finals was at that location for 19 years. 19 years straight before they broke free of that. And believe it or not, the last event was the All-Star Challenge. But still, you had people who liked it. Then you had the Crush Car change. There was quite a few people who didn't like it. And then some people who actually didn't mind it. Let's see. Let's keep going down the list. Current track layouts. Pretty much really anything you could possibly think of before this point. There was people who defended it and people who didn't mind it, and then you had people who flat out hated it and went against it. This is completely different. With the World Finals situation, with the schedule, I gotta be honest, I have not seen a single person actually defend it. Almost everywhere, or actually no, so far it's been everywhere I turn. People were first like, oh, it's whatever, but then they point out the flaws and they're like, oh yeah, that actually sucks. And now everybody doesn't like it. And that's unusual, because I've seen quite a few moments where people just, you know, hate this, but then people like that, and it's just like, it's always been split with the Monster Jam community, but now it's pretty much united, and that's very, you know, like that doesn't usually happen. And that's why I'm shocked that Monster Jam has not changed the formula back to a standard format where Fridays racing and Saturdays freestyle instead of what they currently got right now. It's because, yeah, everybody's starting a hashtag, change the format, and they're all talking about it, whether it's putting a post on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. like doing a video like how I did, or Old School Fan, or Tim Horn, or even Jackson Morris on Monster Talk's Bonus Time podcast. Him, Wayne, and you know, they even all said it was not a good format. Then yeah, I got a lot of comments saying that Feld really fucked up, or terrible idea, or this and that. And yeah, literally everybody literally said, oh yeah, this really doesn't work. And yeah, again, I'm still on my stance. There was a lot of crucial problems, like if weather affects one of the nights, we're screwed. Or now it's one thing that I actually heard, and now I totally agree on, is now it feels like two small stadium shows. 12 trucks here, 12 trucks here. Now, I totally get that, because I was listening to the Bonus Time podcast. Again, shout out to Jackson and Monster Talk. I forgot who brought it up, but yeah, it feels like a small, like, 12 truck show. I think Wayne Avengers Racing, I think he brought it up. But yeah, I totally see that. It's pretty much two small 12 truck shows, but with like a World Finals banner flopped on it. And yeah, I totally see that. And then you see other people. I think one of the former hosts of Monster Jam, I forgot who it was, but they literally said that I wouldn't host this no matter how much money is sent. I forgot what it was in their words. And then there was also, I forgot, Instagram. Somebody posted the hashtag Feld Fix the Format. And even Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger put a comment saying, keep it going. Yeah, even the drivers are actually turning on the formula. Ryan Anderson actually got his voice out. Not in a post, but just replying to a comment. That's scary. If they don't change that format, that's scary. Honestly. But again, we'll see. It's currently January. We still got several months to go. It's in July. Literally the first weekend of July, 4th of July weekend. But yeah, that's frightening that everybody, including Feld workers and former Feld workers and just everybody, is all turning on it, and they want the non-broken format. Because again, why fix what's not broken, you know? And again, as I said, if this was like a unique event, like something brand new, I wouldn't mind it. Like if they made an event like called Monster Jam Tournament or something, or like whatever name that they could come up with, and have like as a unique event separate from the World Finals, it'd be fine. But since it's part of World Finals, it pretty much hurts the brand of the World Finals. But again, we'll see. We're still in mid-January, so we still got a long time to go before we get to see what happens with the World Finals. And of course, when World Finals is coming up, or when something's announced, we'll check again, and if it's still there, we'll let you guys know on it. Again, it's pretty much a developing story. That I just wanted to bring that up for the first thought, because again, it's not every day that the Monster Jam community and Monster Truck community actually unites on something that's happened. A legend returns, Dennis Anderson. So obviously he has Extreme King Sling on the 2 Extreme Monster Truck Tour. He actually, for the first time, I believe in 8 years, competed on a racing bracket and won. Yeah. I think Dennis is in like his 60s or whatnot, but man, he still got it. Let's just say that. He still got it. And that's why he is my favorite driver of all time. Hands down, and never gonna change. My man, Dennis Anderson. Now then. Hot Wheels. Obviously, everyone knows they started a brand new tour, Glow and Fire. They were hinting that some things are going to change, and like the stunts are going to be bigger, and like I didn't have high hopes going into it, because obviously I know what they are, but I had some expectations before watching all the videos. First starting off on Instagram and Facebook, and then eventually finally getting to see full-length events from other Monster Truck fans posting it on YouTube, which I'm glad I was able to see. Pretty early, too. But I looked at it, and I noticed there is glow. There's some new paint. Bigfoot gets a new intro. I mean, that's good. And the drivers, again, they're great as always. But I'm not seeing the fire. I looked at almost every video, and the closest thing I could see is like smoke coming out right by the barriers or the walls, and they're like colored. And that's really it. I think the fire is supposed to be just the color choice they choose for the track. Like instead of this whatever, like the very light blue with the orange on the top, and then you got the light blue van, and then you have the green cars and the yellow cars. They went for green and orange tarps. They had yellow van stacks, and then you had the orange cars and the green cars. So pretty much the fire thing in the title is just for the paint. Yeah, because I took a look at all these videos, and I'm not seeing fire. Even the side act doesn't even have fire. Again, if you guys see fire in one of these shows, tell me. Because I gotta be honest, I think the title of the series, Glow and Fire, the glow is, of course, there, but the fire's misleading. I think that's a scam. And it kind of reminds me of that Hot Wheels game that I played in an earlier video, if you guys saw that last year during Christmas. I played that game, and I didn't even complete the full thing. I just suffered through it, because it was literally doing the same thing over and over again, and that clicked. It's just like Hot Wheels. It's just like their live tour. You're just doing the same thing over and over again, and even with slight changes like adding paint and no fire. So, I just wanted to bring that up too. Literally nothing different about that tour. Again, they should have done something. But who am I kidding? It's Hot Wheels. Let's see. Again, there was quite a few tours that just started up throughout the weekend. Besides Hot Wheels, there was also Toughest Monster Truck Tour. They had their first stop, I believe. I forgot where, but I looked at full-length videos and photos, and they, of course, they delivered. I really wish this series was live streamed or streamed on a certain streaming service or whatnot, because their events are just too entertaining to not record. Their tracks are great, especially for smaller arenas, and their lineups are pretty much top tier independent teams. So yeah, hopefully either later this year or maybe next year they could start streaming their events, because this seriously should not be not recorded anywhere. It's like top tier quality stuff, and a lot of people really love that tour. And a few other small tours, of course, started. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna go now back to Monster Jam, to the results, and then the predictions. So now I'm going to pull up the results from the only stadium event to start off, Snapdragon Stadium. Also, bear with me. Allergies are starting to kick me, and work also kicked my ass, so I'm kind of double beaten while I'm going through this. Tyler Menega, one thing I just want to say about him, he has 13 races won this season, and he has not lost a single race for 2025. Yep, Tyler's officially on a 13 race streak. And that's pretty damn impressive since he's competed in 2 weekends in a row. And yeah, it doesn't matter if it's the same stadium or same track. That's still impressive. Um, but we'll see how this goes, as he won both races. So we'll start with skills then. Armando Castro got the skills win on the Saturday evening show. Freestyle had some pretty decent runs, but then you had Cannon Murphy, Throwdown, and Classroom Crusher finally getting a win in that truck. Again, it's not just a new chassis, it's also a new, not just a new body, but it's also a new chassis. So we got the freestyle win and the overall event championship, just 1 point over Tyler Menega. And then show 2, Tyler got racing again. Skills. Debating on who won skills. Honestly, Joe Foley, he had a pretty decent run. I'm trying to remember what Tyler did. Again, I'm a little rusty after a long day. I think Tyler deserved it, but Jim Kohler got pretty underscored for what he did, like a large sidewall save. Again, Jim Kohler, even all these years later, he's still thrilling. I'm surprised he got pretty low in skills. And then freestyle. Joe Foley got robbed. Barry Musauer came out last. He won by a few big air hits, a backflip, and a crash after a huge jump at the end. But Joe Foley, he had a lot of crazy hits, especially with how that chassis set up. Got a backflip, got a crazy save, and again, Barry didn't even have a save, and Joe got it. So, yeah, he was definitely mistreated with the fan judging. So, yeah, he should have won that show. But anyway, Barry got freestyle and the overall event championship. Again, Tyler was right there with Barry. He just lost by 1 point. Going in, Tyler is leading by 15 points over Barry Musauer. Then below them is Cannon Murphy, Dalton Whiter, and Armando Castro drops down to 5th, and that's the top 5. Colt Stevens goes up to 6th, Joe Foley 7th, Chris Kohler 8th, Jim Kohler 9th, Cynthia Gauthier and Lucas Stabilizer, she's 10th surprisingly. Mike Christensen and Vendetta moves up a spot to 11, and Kevin Crocker struggling in Megalodon this season. I don't know if it's because of the new chassis, but yeah, he's struggling a little bit, but hopefully he's able to make it back. And now we're going to move on to our next tour, and again, I am not going to be going over Kansas City. Again, that was just an off-season event. That was an off-season event, but I will bring up this, though. How about Mike Pagliarulo? Let's just bring up him for a second. Winning, he won donuts, and he won skills. He was pretty consistent throughout, and he got an overall event championship. How about it? And I'm excited to see what he does next time when they're back in stadiums, because now I think that kind of boosted his confidence, and I'm really super stoked to see what happens. And yeah, the reason why I'm not covering that tour that much is because obviously that was pretty much just a random event, a points break, so the points still stands after a couple weekends ago when they had their first event. Ryan and Bryce are still tied for first. All right. Better get done pretty soon. Allergies are really starting to hit. Going in. One second here. So we're going to be talking about now about Greensboro, North Carolina. That would be for the East Tour. Brandon Telechka got the racing win. Then Tony Oakes got the skills win. Sky Wheelie was won by Kristen Anderson, and freestyle and overall was Blake Ranger in Monstermont Dalmatian. That was Saturday evening. And then for Sunday afternoon, Blake would get the timed racing, skills win, and then winning the Sky Wheelies was MJ Solario and El Toro Loco. And then Kristen Anderson would get freestyle and the overall event championship. Going into their points, Blake Ranger has just a 5-point lead over Kristen Anderson. So it's actually kind of close between these two. Meanwhile, everybody is sort of spaced out. You got Brandon Telechka, MJ Solario, Tony Oaks, Mark Hall, Michaela Telechka, and actually driving that night, I believe, was Dale Benier. Great driving from him. Let's see. Going up next, we're going to be talking about Milwaukee, which is from my favorite tour, this being the Central Tour. They had about 3 events. Matt Cody would get the racing win. Then skills would be won by John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity. Donuts was won by Megalodon, driven by Angelina Knock. And by this point, everybody has won at least one competition. So now it's really getting good. Freestyle was won by Matt Cody, and the overall would actually go to John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity. And then Saturday afternoon, Crazy Train with Triton Robbins would get the win. Skills would be won by John Zimmer Jr. Donuts, Matt Cody and Gravedigger. Freestyle, John Zimmer Jr., and he would also get the overall. Then we have the final event, which is Saturday evening. That being John Zimmer Jr. would get the racing victory. Then in the skills challenge, it would be Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco. Then Donuts would be won by Jamie Sullivan. Freestyle as well, and she would bring Sparkle Smash to 2 victories that night. But however, at the end of the night, it would be Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco that would have the most points. Going into their points for next week, just 8 points ahead. Fernando Martinez is leading over John Zimmer Jr. Meanwhile, Matt Cody is behind just by 10 points. Then Jamie Sullivan, John Zimmer Jr., Triton Robbins, Montana Robbins, and Angelina Knock. Again, very competitive, and they're slowly spreading out just a little bit, but they were still trading wins left and right through Milwaukee. Now, we got one more, and this was the West Series. And there was actually quite a few shows for this tour, so let's just go down the list. For Friday evening, Weston Anderson would get the racing victory. He would also get the skills win. Brianna Mahan and Scooby-Doo would get the donut win. Cody Saucier would get the freestyle win, but Weston Anderson would walk away with the overall event championship. Then going into Saturday afternoon, Brianna Mahan would get the racing win. Skills would actually go to Velociraptor, which is driven by Devin Winfield. Then Donuts would then happen, and Donuts would be won by Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack. Then Freestyle would be won by Weston Anderson, but the overall actually was Devin Winfield in Velociraptor, just by 2 points over Weston. Or not 2 points up. It was actually a tiebreaker. Then Saturday, Weston Anderson would win racing that night. He would also gain the skills win. Then Cody Saucier would get the donut win. Brianna Mahan would get freestyle, but Weston would get the overall for Saturday. That would be Saturday evening, but then we get to Sunday for 2 more shows. The afternoon show would see Cody Saucier and Dragon get the racing win. Weston Anderson would get the skills win, the donut win, freestyle, and overall. He had a pretty good Sunday afternoon show, but just didn't. I think he lost in the semifinals in the JCB racing. Then Cody would once again get a racing win on the evening show. Weston Anderson would get the skills win. Tim Hall Jr. would get the donut win. And then Weston would follow up and win freestyle. But Devin Winfield was consistent enough by 2 points to snap the overall event championship. Going into their points, Weston, he's already dominating by a significant margin. And he is leading over Brianna Mahan by 65 points. Then third is Cody Saucier. Then Devin Winfield, Ashley Sanford, Tim Hull Jr., Berto Trevino, and Carson Williams. That is the tours, I believe. Yes, so that is all the tours that we just got over. Now, predictions to wrap up this episode of the podcast. And again, I'm slowly beginning to lose it. We got a total of, it looks like all the tours are going to be going off. Actually, no, I think it's only 4 that are going off this weekend. So let's take a look here. So my beloved Central Tour will not have a stop this weekend, so I'm a little bummed, but at least Stadium West is back. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. The East Tour will go to Baltimore, Maryland. And they'll be going for 4 shows. Racing, I am going to go with Brandon Telechka. Skills, Blake Ranger. I believe this one is Sky Wheelies. I'm thinking Kristen Anderson. I'm thinking freestyle is going to be Blake Ranger, and he'll also get overalls. I think Blake Ranger's just like a fully dominant driver. Now going to the West Tour, the Weston Anderson show. A whopping 5-show weekend will take place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Tacoma Dome, a very historical Monster Jam venue, and I hope they live stream it, because if they do, then we are in for a really good treat. So this kind of makes up for not being able to see the Central Tour this weekend, but yeah, it's going to be a very, very nice little touch. So, racing, knowing how that track is, I think Cody's going to walk away with it in Dragon. He's usually a very fast racer in a bigger track. I think he excels. Skills, Weston Anderson, he's just been dominant. I'm thinking for donuts maybe, honestly. Thinking Brianna Mahan and Scooby-Doo is going to walk away with that. But freestyle, going to go on a whim. Tim Hall Jr. I think Tim Hall is going to walk away with some freestyle victories in Jurassic Attack. And then overall, Weston Anderson. All right, stadium action. So Anaheim is back. However, this time it's Stadium East that gets a crack at Anaheim. So Anaheim, after seeing the West track, they now get a little taste of the East track. And this will be for 2 shows. I'm thinking for racing, I think Tyler's luck might run out, because again, 2 weekends is long. I think someone's going to break that streak, and I think the one that's going to break that streak is Amado Castro in El Toro Loco. He's been fast pretty consistently too, especially with that first weekend. He was very, very quick, and he was also a pretty top contender in the second week. So I think, especially with that dirt being a little bit more forgiving, unlike San Diego where the dirt can be pretty tacky, I think it's going to be Armando getting the racing victory and snatching Tyler's streak. Jeez, I'm already messing up. Skills, I think Tyler will make up for that and get a skills win. And then freestyle, I'm actually going to go off and say Colt Stevens Thunder Roaris. I liked what he did at San Diego, and I think he's going to get some redemption at Anaheim. Overall, thinking Tyler Menega. Again, he's just too dominant. And finally, the West Tour. They will go away from California and go to Missouri in St. Louis about the Dome at America Center. And this will be for a 2-show weekend. Racing, I'm honestly going to think about going for... after he came up short the last 2 times he was in racing, I think Cole Vinard and Black Pearl has got a message sent, and I think he's going to walk away with that one. Going in for skills, honestly, let's go Mike Pegliaro and Excalibur. I mean, I think that arena show really built up his confidence, and I think he's going to really excel in St. Louis and actually start going into like a more elevated level in terms of driving. And then freestyle, after having many down weeks, I think Zach Garner's actually going to pull up and get a freestyle win at least once in St. Louis. Overall, I think I'm going to go with Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. He's usually been very consistent. He's currently tied in points with Bryce. But again, you also got to watch out for Bryce, got to watch out for Adam. Usually those guys are also pretty tough as well in the lineups. So it's going to be pretty close, mostly for the West Tour. And that's going to do it for this episode of the TF Motorsports podcast. I believe we went through all the points. Yes. But yeah, just one thing I wanted to say again. Arena Central. Incredible tour. Next time they'll be at it is at the Prudential Center. And thankfully, I will be there at least once. So, that'll be nice. So, thank you guys for watching or listening to the podcast, and hope to see you guys next week as we'll go over week 3 and preview week 4, and hopefully we get some more stories and we'll cover them so we can make this episode just a little bit longer. Thank you everybody for listening in, and we'll see you next week.